Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Braja Jana Ranjana Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Stotra Shri Srimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Radha Govinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanandi. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayed. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and of course, unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator and commentator. Nashtapraeshapadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Narishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are in the beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order, in the chapter 9 entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home, and we have made our way to verse 16. And I don't know if I know what the meter is, if anyone has any hints. The Brahma Samhita? Okay, I just tried it in my head and it didn't work out so good, but let's see if it works. By the blessings of the devotees. Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti. I'm just going to try that one more time. Yasmin viruddha gatayo hi anisham patanti. My tongue is getting tied on one of them. Vidyadayo vidashaktaya anupurvyat. Tad Brahma Vishva Bhavamekam Ananta Adyam. Ananda Matram Vikaram Aham Prapadye. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo hi anisham patanti. Vidyadayo vividashaktaya anupurvyat. Tad Brahma Vishwa Bhavamekam Anantam Madhyam. Ananda Matram Avakaram Aham Prapadye. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo hi anisham. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo hi anisham patanti. Vidyadayo vivida shaktayanu purvyat. Tad Brahma Vishva Bhavamekam Anantam Madhyam Ananda Matram Avikaram Aham Prapadye. Please. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo Hyanisham Yadayayo Vidida Shaktaya Anupurvyad Tad Brahma Vishwa Bhavamekam Anantamadhyam Ananda Matram Avikaram Aham Prapadye. Yasmin Viruddha Gateho Hyanisham Patanti Vidyadayo Vivida Shaktaya Anupurvyat Tad Brahma Vishvam Bhavamekam Ananta Adyam Anandam Matram Avikaram Aham Prapadye. Voice from the sky. Janpatanti Vidyadayo Vivida Shaktaya Anupurvyad Tad Brahma Vishwa Bhavamekam Anantamadhyam Ananda Matram Avikaram Aham Prapadye. I think everyone should chant because this Bhagavatam is known as Punya Shravana Kirtana. It's uplifting just by chanting it and hearing it. So there's not many people, so we can all chant it. Plus I kind of messed it up, so I want to do it again after everyone. But Prabhu's a very nice chanter. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo Hyanisham Patanti Vidyadayo Vivida Shaktaya Anupurvyat Tad Brahma Vishwa Bhavamekam Anantamadhyam Ananda Matram Avikaram Aham Prapadye. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo Hyanisham Patanti Vidyadayo Vivida Shaktaya Anupurvyat Tad Brahma Vishwa Bhavamekam Anantamadhyam Ananda Matram Avikaram Aham Prapadye. Yasmin Viruddha Gatayo Hyanisham Patanti Vidyadayo Vivida Shakti Anupurvat Vishvabhavamekam Anantamadhyam Anandamatram avikaram aham prapadye. Yasmin, in whom Virudagataya, of opposite character, he, certainly, Anisham, always, patanti, are manifest. Vidya adayaha, knowledge and ignorance, etc. Vividha, various. Shaktayaha, energies. Anupurvyat, continually. Tat, that. Brahma, Brahman. Vishvabhavam, cause of material creation. Ekam, one. Anantam, unlimited. Adyam, original. Anandam matram, simply blissful. Avikaram, changeless. Aham, I. Prapadye, offer my obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Translation with repetition. My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest. But the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. In the Brahma Samhita it said that the unlimited impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of the transcendental body of Govinda. And that unlimited effulgent aura of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there are innumerable universes with innumerable planets of different categories. Although the Supreme Person is the original cause of all causes, his impersonal effulgence, known as Brahman, is the immediate cause of the material manifestation. Dhruv Maharaj therefore offered his respectful obeisances unto the impersonal feature of the Lord. One who realizes this impersonal feature can enjoy the unchangeable Brahmananda, described here as spiritual bliss. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that this impersonal feature or Brahman manifestation of the Supreme Lord is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced, but still not able to understand the personal features or variegatedness of the spiritual world. Such devotees are known as Jnana Mishra Bhaktas, or devotees whose devotional service is mixed with empiric knowledge. Because the impersonal Brahman realization is a partial understanding of the absolute truth, Dhruv Maharaj offers his respectful obeisances. It is said that this impersonal Brahman is the distant realization of the absolute truth. Although apparently Brahman seems to be devoid of energy, factually it has different energies working under the headings of knowledge and ignorance. On account of these different energies, there is continually a manifestation of vidya and avidya. Vidya and avidya are nicely described in Isopanishad. It is said that sometimes, due to avidya or a poor fund of knowledge, one accepts the absolute truth as ultimately impersonal. But, in fact, the impersonal and personal realizations develop in proportion to the development of devotional service. The more we develop our devotional service, the more closely we approach this absolute truth, which in the beginning, when we realize the absolute truth from a distant place, is manifest as impersonal. People in general who are under the influence of avidya shakti, or maya, have neither knowledge nor devotion, But when a person who is a little advanced, and therefore is called Jnani, advances even more, he is in the category of Jnana Mishra Bhakta, or a devotee whose love is mixed with empiric knowledge. When it's further advanced, he can realize that the absolute truth is a person with multi-energies. And as an advanced devotee, he can understand the Lord and his creative energy. As soon as one accepts the creative energy of the absolute truth, the 6 opulences of the Supreme Personality of God are also understood. Devotees who are still further advanced in full knowledge can understand the pastimes of the Lord. Only on that platform can one fully enjoy transcendental bliss. An example is given in this connection by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur of a person proceeding towards a destination. And as he approaches, he sees the destination from a distant place, like we see a city from a distance. At that time, he simply understands that the city is situated at a distance. When he comes still nearer, however, he sees domes and flags. As soon as he enters, he sees various paths, gardens, lakes, markets, and shops, and persons buying. He sees varieties of cinema houses, and he sees dancing and jubilation. When a person actually enters the city and personally sees the activities of the city, he becomes satisfied. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakalpatrubhishcha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you, devotees, for giving me a chance to do some service and purify myself by studying and preparing to speak on the Bhagavatam. And especially thank you, Archita Prabhu, for being here and keeping everything in line. Beg your permission to speak something nicely. So when I speak, I usually like to kind of, usually for my own sake, get a GPS of where we are in the Bhagavatam, what's been happening, because if you just give a verse on one verse for one day, then after a week, you can kind of completely forget where you are, what to speak of longer. So we're here in the 4th canto, and Dhruva Maharaj was meditating. He was following the instructions of Narad Muni, and he was eating some leaves. Then he switched to dry leaves. Then he switched to just drinking water. Then he switched to just eating air, just breathing. And then he stopped breathing, and he was in such a yogic trance that his breathing, when his breathing stopped, it also interfered with the universal breathing somehow. And all the demigods began to get extremely disturbed. And so they approached the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord said, "Don't worry." And he came, and while Dhruva was meditating on the Lord, suddenly the Lord vanished from his meditation. And opening his eyes, saw that the same Lord that he had been meditating on was giving him now direct external darshan. And so Dhruva had finally gotten this external darshan with the Lord by the mercy of his guru. And when someone very important shows up, it's always good to glorify them, especially the Lord. But Dhruva Maharaj was just 5 years old, and even though he had learned Ashtanga Yoga, he did not quite know such good Sanskrit grammar. So he couldn't compose nice hymns. Like the Lord is known as Uttama Shloka. And the verses glorifying the Lord are Uttama. They're like wonderful. They're very powerful. So the Lord, seeing this awkward situation for Dhruva and being merciful, like the Lord can do anything through any of his senses. So instead of spending years, it takes 12 years to learn grammar, and then probably more to become like a pundit that you can just recite a verse off the top of your head, completely composing it with perfect grammar. He just touches him with a conch shell. And so then Dhruva immediately became enlightened, and he said all his senses were asleep, and then they became awakened. And he's explaining how before he didn't really know any better, he was ignorant, and that's why he asked for such a low thing as dominion over the entire material universe. And now he knows better, and he knows what he wants, he knows what he wants to ask for. And now in these last 3 verses, and this is the 3rd verse, he's kind of explaining to the Lord. He's like, yes, I know who you are now. I know. In the first verse, verse 14, he was explaining to the Lord how he knows the Lord. He says, you are the same as the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, who's out of his lotus even creates one of these universes. And the Karnadakshay Vishnu, well, there's millions of unlimited Garbhodakshai Vishnus coming out. You're the source of that. You're the one laying on the bed of Ananta there. And so then, saying that he was laying on the bed of Ananta, the Lord might doubt. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti explaining. Oh, you say I'm sleeping, but if you say I'm so great, I'm sleeping just like you, just like all the jivas. I'm no different than the jiva. Why would you say that I'm sleeping? So then, in the verse we had read yesterday, Dhruva Maharaj was like, no, let me correct you, Lord. You have enlightened me, so I'll explain to you. I said you were sleeping, but it's much different. You and the jiva are much, much different. The Mayavadis are wrong. You're completely liberated, and the jivas only get liberation to you. You're known as Mukunda. You're completely pure, and the jivas are contaminated until they get connection with you. You're completely omniscient, and the jivas only know whatever they know through you. Their senses can't even function without your say, your will. And your body is non-different from you, whereas the jivas all have these disgusting material coverings. And you are non-changed. You extend over all time in one form, where the jiva over time takes many, many, many forms. And you're the cause of these Purushas, the Karnadakshay Vishnu, the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, the Kirdakshay Vishnu, who are maintaining the entire world. The jiva is not the cause of anything and can't even maintain himself. You are Bhagavan, full of all bhaga, full of all opulences. And the jivas don't have any opulences. They don't own anything. You control the modes, the gunas, passion, goodness, and ignorance, where the jivas are controlled by those modes. And your intelligence is completely perfect and stable, where the jivas are constantly cycling through sleep, awakening, and dreaming. And you maintain the universe. The jivas can't maintain anything. You preside over all the sacrifices, where the jivas need the sacrifices to be able to maintain themselves. And therefore, you are completely different from the jiva. And your sleeping is completely different from the sleeping of the jiva. You're only sleeping just as a part of your wonderful pastimes. So having said that very sweet thing, now the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj is, in this verse, describing the Brahman, my dear Lord. In your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always 2 opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energies are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. So Prabhupada says in the first sentence, there's a few verses in Brahma Samhita which mentions the Brahman. The one that comes to mind is Yasya Prabha Prabhavato Jagardanda Koti Kotishvashesha Vasudadi Vibhuti Binnam Tad Brahma Nishkalam Ananta Ashesha Bhutam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Translation is, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Adi Purusham, whose effulgence is the source of the non-differentiated Brahman. In another verse in Brahma Samhita, it says that the Brahman that all the impersonalists are trying to realize is just a simni of vichinta tattve. It's just coming out of a reflection of his toenail. That's how insignificant the Brahman is in comparison to the Lord. But he's the source of the Brahman. And that Brahman is, there may be infinite glories in the mundane universe, but that Brahman is completely differentiated. And like in this verse, Dhruva is mentioning, the same is mentioned, it's indivisible, undivided, it's infinite, it's limitless, and it's the indivisible, infinite, limitless truth. And it also has some aspect of bliss. Prabhupada mentions Brahmananda. And so there's different levels of realization. Vedanti tattvavidas tattvam yajgayam advayam. So those who are tattvavids, those who know the actual truth about reality, they see Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti shabdite. They see Bhagavan in different ways. And so Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving a nice example. And we hear in Prabhupada's preaching, who knows the second part of Prabhupada's pranam mantra? I mean, I hope we all know it, but someone just say it. Namaste Saraswati Devi. What does that mean? The follower of Saraswati Devi. Devi is like the servant of Saraswati. And it's not Saraswati Devi. Sometimes people say that. Because that would be different. That would be just to the goddess Saraswati, which is it's not what it's saying. When I first joined, I was kind of meditating on the goddess Saraswati sometimes. And so I thought, oh my gosh, this is a Saraswati mantra that they're chanting? And then it's not exactly Saraswati, it's Saraswati. Because the name of Prabhupada's spiritual master is Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. He got that title Saraswati Goswami because he was so learned, and so everyone was amazed by his learning, and so people consider Saraswati the goddess of learning. So they gave him that title, Siddhanta Saraswati, that he was completely blissed to give all the Bhakti Siddhantas. And so he does give all the Bhakti Siddhantas. So Prabhupada is a servant of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Namaste Saraswati Devi. Gauravani Pracharine, what does that mean? Gauravani is the Vani or instructions, like we have Vani and Vapu, of Gaura, of Lord Chaitanya. Pracharine means, preach. And an interesting thing that I've heard, if you break down the Sanskrit of prachar, what does achar mean? It doesn't mean pickle that we eat, spicy thing with our food. But what does achar mean? Your activities. And in general, we're talking about prachar means these activities are like the good activities. So pra is a prefix that means like to increase it. So preaching actually means doing whatever you have to do to increase the sadachar of others, to increase the good activities of others. So to increase the amount people are following and understanding Gauravani. So Gauravani Pracharine. Okay, and then the last one, this is very pertinent to this verse and to Dhruva Maharaj's preachings. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. What does Nirvishesh mean? Yeah, Nirvishesh. Nir without, Vishesh. Difference. Vishesh. Shunyavadi. What does that mean? What Shunya means? Zero. Actually, people say zero came from the Arabic numerals, but the Arab cultures all sprouted from Vedic culture. Like Iran is just Aryan, like perverted over time. So zero is actually coming from Vedic cultures. Shunya is actually coming there. But in this context, it means more of like, voidism, which means more or less the philosophy of Buddhism. And Nirvisheshvad, which is like oneism. So you have zeroism and oneism. So we don't teach negativism is the material world. The material world is negative. Anyone with a little bit of realization can realize that. And we want to go beyond that. But to go beyond that, if you have all your problems in the material world and you want to just make it zero, that's not the way. Technically you're solving your problems, but that's not the real solution. And neither is everything one, because everything isn't one. And so this is what Dhruva Maharaj is preaching. This was a Prabhupada. And so what he preached, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, Paschachar Desha Tarine. So Paschachar Desh. It's not the Desh means country or place. It's not the place which makes pasta. It's not just Italy or America, but Pastya means the West. So Paschachar Desh Tarine. Tarine means to deliver. So Prabhupada, by preaching and increasing the Gauravani and destroying the oneism and zeroism and showing how they were wrong and teaching people actually bhakti, he's delivered the whole world, especially the Western countries, starting with New York. He said it was most important. And so Dhruva Maharaj is showing that he is also a tattva vida, that he also knows how to nirvishesh shunyavadi pasyatar deshatarine. He knows how to destroy this mayavad and impersonal and voidist philosophies. The nirvishesh school would argue like the Lord was trying to joke with Dhruva. Oh, you said I was sleeping, so you're also sleeping, so we're the same. And the Mayavadi loves to hear that you're the same as God. That's one motivation, is they want to become like God. But little they'll understand, if they would just practice devotional service, they could actually become greater than God. Because love is that thing that makes you, that God agrees to be subservient to, despite Him being the all-powerful. And so there's so much sweetness to realize in that. But the person just trying to gain knowledge, the Bhakta Mishra Jnana, as Prabhupada put it, or the devotee that is mixed with or the Jnana Mishra Bhakta, as Prabhupada puts it, the devotee that is still enjoying empiric philosophy, or as Vishwanath Chakravarti, he switches it. He says, like Brahman, the Tattva Vidas who are just realizing Brahman, they're actually Jnanis that are mixed with a little bit of bhakti. That's like the beginning. Like you mix, because actually even karma, you're trying to get sense enjoyment. Whatever sense enjoyment we're getting, and whatever proper sacrifices we can do to get an ample amount of sense gratification, which is how the sense gratification actually comes, it's only due to the bhakti that are in those rituals, or the bhakti that somehow or other people have performed, that's empowering the Lord to say, okay, I guess for that reason I can supply something. That's the reason why the Lord is fulfilling all the karmic desires, all the karma. And the reason He's fulfilling all the jnana also, if they want to get knowledge, if they want to realize the Brahman, it's because there's some sort of bhakti mixed in with those practices. And of course, the Brahman is manifested for those Shanta Bhaktas. If their jnana is just mixed with enough bhakti and you're pure enough, but they can't really accept the variegation of the spiritual world, they can't accept the various qualities of the Lord, they are just so attached to this, everything is one, and they're realized in that. They're considered Tattva Vidas, knowing the Brahman is part of the Lord. But as Prabhupada is saying, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, and everything is manifested by bhakti, Brahman only appears when you have no idea of the Shaktis. But here Dhruva Maharaj is Nirvishesh, Tarine, delivering us from Nirvisheshvad, saying that actually even in the Brahman, there is still Vidya and Avidya. There's still difference in there. And as soon as you get Vidya and Avidya, the Mayavadi arguments cease. Does anyone understand how that works? Because Avidya and Avidya means knowledge and ignorance. Knowledge and ignorance implies a lot of things. If you're trying to say everything is one, but then all of a sudden you say there's knowledge and ignorance, everything can't be one. Because to have knowledge of anything, you automatically need 3 things. So you didn't skip from 1 to 2, you skip 1 all the way to 3 by the fact of having avidya and vidya. You have to have the knowledge, something to know. You have someone that has to know that thing, and then you have to have the fact that they actually know it. Like the knower, the knowledge, it's the thing to know, and the knowledge that someone has of it. Like, there's the camera, and then there's me. And then there's me actually knowing how to interface with the camera and to not put the microphone in front of it so it doesn't block my face. So people shouldn't be seeing my face anyways. They should just mostly be hearing. But anyways, if someone's seeing my face, I guess. Oh, I don't actually know which one is going right now. The blue one or the green one? Okay, this switch it. I mean, anyways, it doesn't really matter. So that's just one layer of Shaktis. And then Dhruva Maharaj, Prabhupada, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur are explaining, then there's more energies. And as more energies come, there's more realization of the Lord. So first you get vidya and avidya. And famously, in the Prabhupada mentions, there's the Ishopanishad deals a lot with vidya and avidya. Only one who could learn the process of nescience, avidya, and that of transcendental knowledge, vidya, side by side, can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. So here, who wants to enjoy the full blessings of immortality? Okay, only you 3 can do it in Archita. Come on, you don't want to enjoy the full blessings of immortality? Courtney? Yeah, okay, thank you. Everyone who agrees in whole or part, say Haribol. Yeah. And so, but you have to know both side by side. And like I said, just knowing ignorance and knowledge automatically makes things go beyond just oneness. And you see the two-ness. And a little more bhakti, Vishwanath Chakravarti explains how there's the gradations of your realization based on your bhakti shakti. And Prabhupada also, he's reflecting this in his purport. When he's a little advanced, he's a Jnana Mishra Bhakta. And then when he's further advanced, he actually realizes the absolute truth is a person with multi-energies. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says this first realization is, you realize there's the Purusha, and he has his Maya Shakti. And then he creates the whole universe. You realize how he's the creator. And as soon as you start to accept that he's the creator, then you can see he's creating so many things. He has so many potencies, creative potencies. And you realize that he's actually Bhagavan. With one with full bhakti, they can realize Bhagavan. Bhaga means qualities, Van means full. The Lord is full with all transcendental qualities. And what's his name? Parashara Muni describes Bhagavan. He describes the 6 really powerful qualities that attract us all. So this is Bhakti Shastri test. What are the 6 qualities? Name them one by one, going in a counterclockwise thing. Giant, what is one quality of Bhagavan? Fame. The most beautiful. The most wealthiest. Kana. The most renounced. We got 4. The most wealthy. And the strongest. So is that 6? That's 6. Actually, the Lord has hundreds of qualities, unlimited qualities. Like Parashara Muni nicely described these 6 qualities, which are all these amazing, attractive qualities. Rupa Goswami described 64 qualities in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. But of course, we know, like we were talking about yesterday, the Lord's qualities are unlimited, and even the Lord can't fully know himself, which is very nice because there's always something more. Which is good. It's good that there's always something more. If we're eternal living beings, like, one thing that happens, like, I don't think anyone in here wants a girlfriend, but let's say we find someone that wants a girlfriend and we somehow arrange that they get the most beautiful person. The thing that happens is that after some time, the beauty doesn't increase. Let's say we also give her like anti-aging pills so she stays the same beauty the entire time. I mean, one problem is that everyone gets ugly as they get old. who's ever seen a person never get ugly as they get old? I don't think that's a weird question. Who's seen ugly old people? It's true. It's sad, but it's true. But the truth will set us free. And so, if they're with, even with a very beautiful person, that you can get used to it. It's like the senses. A simple example: if I give you like the most tasty cookie you've ever had, like you eat it once, it's wonderful. All your dopamine are going crazy. Everything is like firing off in your body. It's just like complete bliss. The second time I give you, it's actually a little less. Third time I give you, it's less. 100th time I give you, it's the same as like saying hi to your friend. It's barely anything. So that's with any material enjoyment. The senses don't have a unlimited capacity to be able to enjoy them, and they get hackneyed. Even someone very beautiful, there's a limit to their beauty. So if we're eternal living beings that want to have eternal bliss, not eternal hackneyed mediocrity, then it's very good that our eternal associates will all have unlimited, increasing transcendental qualities. And so, with full bhakti, we can realize the Lord has unlimited shaktis, like to be able to satisfy all kinds of wonderful pastimes, astonish us in many different ways, astonish His devotees in many different ways, have so many beautiful arts and expertise. Each art, actually, of the 64 arts is an unlimited reservoir to dive deeply into. There's unlimited ways you can play music. There's unlimited ways you can make paintings. There's unlimited ways you can weave baskets. There's unlimited ways that you can put helmets on or make flower decorations. No, these are all different transcendental Vedic arts that Krishna was taught by Sandipani Muni when he was in Avantipur. And so these are the different things approaching. The Lord is just, everything is one. Everything is Vidya and Avidya, Purusha and Maya in the creation, and all the pastimes in the Supreme Lord, fully Bhagavan realization. You know, the different examples, train and mountain and town. So we heard the town example in the purport. So the train example, you go down in the subway, you can realize the train example every day. First you hear, and you kind of see a light. So you might have a Brahman realization. Oh, the train is just a sound in the light. You know, just, and it's a light. That's all the train is. And then you start to see it's like just a bunch of different train cars coming by, and like, oh wow, that's actually like a long snake-like thing, like connected in pieces. That's what a train is. But then finally, ding, stand clear of the closing door. You get on, and you like see the homeless person without, really smelling bad, and the other, the Spanish lady handing out the candy, and all the people sitting down, and the guy with the big bike that's blocking everyone, and you realize, oh, it's like full of all kinds of transcendental enjoyment, and you finally get on the train, and you can take it. So that's full Bhagavan realization. Then there's the mountain example, which is also given. If you just see a mountain in the distance, you can see it's going into the clouds, and it's just a gigantic thing, and you can't really differentiate anything. But when you start to get closer, and you see there's a bunch of trees growing on the mountain, and there's like this stream coming on this side, and like this over there. And then finally you're on the mountain, and you see each individual tree, and you can, we were just in a bunch of nice nature walks, so you see all the mushrooms on the ground, and you see all the different, you could pull an earthworm out, and everything. So these are different examples that the acharyas have given. And the last part, that this unlimited shaktis of the Lord gives in Bhagavan realization, it means that there's some contradictions. Like even with the first realization of avidya and vidya, contradictory. Like there's fools like me and enlightened beings like you, and especially as senior devotees. So the avidya and vidya. Then there's creation and destruction, like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. They're all existing within the Lord. There's being born and not being born. Like when you talk about like the Damodar pastimes, the Lord, He has a mother somehow, but He's unborn. Krishna says in the Gita, although I'm unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I'm the Lord of all living entities, still by my internal potency, I appear in every millennium. I take birth in every millennium. There's the contradictory thing, being inactive, but also being full of pastimes. he's just sleeping, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, just sleeping on Vishnu, and Lakshmi ji maybe massaging his thing, and just doing nothing. Or even just the reflection of his toe making Brahman. It's like no things. Then Krishna having all sorts of pastimes, all the unlimited avatars having so many pastimes. Then there's Atmarama being fully innerly self-satisfied because he's the perfectly situated Supreme Lord. And there's Bhaktavatsal, that constantly going to the whims of his devotees, reciprocating with his devotees. And these contradictory facts are all eternally present in the Lord. So they're very wonderful. And we have 7 more minutes to discuss the glories of the Lord. I have a little bit more that I want to say, but I want to take a pause here and maybe hear from maybe Archita Prabhu, or someone has a question or a comment, and maybe it'll take the time of the class, or if we have nothing, I have other things, but yes, that's almost all that I had to say.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I have one doubt, Prabhu. You mentioned that the jivas get the karma to enjoy because there is some amount of bhakti they have performed through rituals. So does that mean that bhakti eventually, leads to pious activities, which leads to bondage? So how should we understand? Because pious activities, if one performs karma, so he will be bound.
Yeah, in the karma, in the pious activities, there's some small amount of bhakti. So the pious activities lead to the cycle of karma, bondage, and then getting up. And you're going to be a demigod, and you're going to go to hell. And you're going to be a demigod. It's a big Ferris wheel. But they're slowly accruing. There's different bank accounts. Some bank accounts get their money and then go out. Like your bad karma, you killed someone, you get a big deposit in that bank account, and you got to spend that money. And don't worry, Yamaraj will help you spend it. And your good accounts, you got to spend it. Don't worry, Indra's got a lot of things you can spend it on. And you spend the good things. But you also have your bhakti account. And that one has a very good accountant that gives you the best deal with the best interest, and it never goes down. So even if you're just depositing a penny every lifetime, it'll still go. And finally, when you've got $10, you might run into a devotee, and they might say something, and immediately by you hearing them, that's Shravana, that's devotional service. You got another $10. Then somehow or other, you clap your hands in the kirtan, you just smile at a devotee something. That's another $10. And you constantly get all these bhakti bucks until you reach the point where your bhakti unmukhu sukriti, your unknown devotional activities, where you weren't really trying to please the Lord, but you did please Him, based inadvertently by coming in contact with devotees, by doing things that, like His devotees prescribed karma kanda to get this effect. That's why they put the Lord's name in some of the mantras. They put offerings to the Lord in some of the activities. So you have to deal with the Lord somehow. You have to please Him at least a little bit in these activities. And when that bhakti is enough, then finally the jiva gets out of the Ferris wheel. They get out of the disgusting, crazy, like terror movie, terror circus movie of the material world, and they can go to whatever planet they can qualify themselves for in the unlimited, variegated spiritual sky.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, well, I mentioned Atmarama, and someone was saying that Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, I didn't hear this directly from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but a devotee said it and I trust them. So if the learned Vidvan devotees can tell me where it is, they said the class is better, best, good, better, and best. And it said it's best if you talk about Krishna. So when you hear Atmaram, does that remind you of any pastime of Krishna? Of course, there's Atmaram Chamunyo, the verse where Lord Chaitanya spoke 64 things, but that wasn't exactly what I was thinking about. We have 3 minutes, so I'm going to have to blaze through it if you guys can remember. If you guys can't remember, we're not going to do it. Yes. That's a good one. Krishna is definitely Atmaram, and in that case, he was Atmaram because he's always Atmaram. But somehow his satisfaction from eating that morsel, made all the, all the Brahmins, like, they got embarrassed. Like, oh, they're going to have a huge feast and I'm not going to be able to eat anything. Like, I better not go. I don't want to embarrass myself. That wasn't exactly what I was thinking about. I think Prabhu Vishnu got it. Let's see. No, this is a pastime of Krishna. Oh, the chip rice with Sudama. No, this is... Okay, I mean, that's also really wonderful. I guess I was talking about Vantipur. And I've only got 2 minutes, so we can talk about that one. So, I've heard from the Pandits that lived in Avantipur when I visited there for an Ayurvedic retreat like a couple of years ago. And it's a very wonderful place. You can go there. They have a temple where Krishna learned from Sandipani Muni, and they have pictures of all the 64 arts. And you can go, and there's a little shloka about all the arts, and you can learn about all the 64 arts a little bit. And you can go worship the same deity that Krishna worshipped with when he was with Sandipani Muni. And you can see all these wonderful things. In this pastime, we know how Sudama gave some poha or chidwa or something, some chip rice to the Lord, and he ate a little bit of it, and he was so ecstatic from that ecstasy overflowed into Sudama's life, and he became like a trillionaire. And he had like immediately a gigantic palace and so many servants and gold and all this stuff. And so one was asking, why, if he was such a good devotee that learned with Krishna, how the heck was he poor? Did anyone ever think like that? Or you just read the pastime and it was, I mean, like I said, when I read, it's hard for me to read. When I get the association of devotees that like help open my intelligence, then it's much better. So when, actually I wasn't thinking that until I heard this pastime, but there was a reason why he was very poor, related to his earlier pastimes with Krishna in the school. And so we all know that Krishna was reminiscing with, I got 1 minute, so I'm going to try to blaze through this. I don't want to be late. Was trying to reminisce about the time when they had to serve their guru and it started raining, and they're like, we were out there for so long, and our guru had to find us, and we were suffering out there in the cold, and how dear you are to me that we could like experience that. What was happening right before that is that they, the Vedic brahmacharis, they have to go and serve everything for the spiritual master. They don't eat unless the spiritual master says. And when you're living out in a Vedic culture, it means you have to collect wood, firewood, to do sacrifices, to cook, to do so many things. Wood is very important. And fortunately, you live in a hermitage in the forest, and the forests aren't all polluted, and there isn't like this Ugra Karma technology that you can just turn on a thing and it's all chemicals. But you go and you just get some natural wood. So Krishna and Sudam were getting this wood, and what do you have to do to get wood? You have to climb trees sometimes you break off the dead branches or something. So Sudam was up there collecting the branches and throwing them down, and Krishna was like breaking them up and making them into stacks ready so they could carry a bunch back for their guru, to do their guru's seva, because that's the job of a brahmachari. And Sudam had been packed 2 packets of chidwa or poha or some snack in his parcel, and he started to get a little hungry. So, okay, I have 2. So he started to eat it, and it was cooked good. It was very tasty. So he finished his bag, and he was thinking, oh, Krishna doesn't know that I have this. I mean, somehow he thought Krishna didn't know. Obviously, we know Krishna's omniscient. And so, this is so good, let me just finish it, and, anyways, we'll be home soon, and they usually make a nice dinner, Krishna can eat that. So he ate all of that, and then suddenly Krishna's like, oh, Paya, Sudam, I'm getting a little hungry. Like, do you have anything? And that's like, right after he finished the last one, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, Krishna, I don't have anything. So that Krishna was mad at him. So he's like, okay, he's doing this, he's not going to be able to eat for a long time. But as soon as Sudama gave the chip rice back, then Krishna was completely pleased with him. So Krishna doesn't hold a grudge. He's a very wonderful person to deal with. He doesn't just take offenses against him lightly. That's why we shouldn't, there's seva aparads and so many things, we shouldn't do them. But also if we ask for forgiveness and we perform things in the right way, he's a wonderful person. You should get to know him. Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And all glories to all of you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.